It is Thursday, February 13th. It is time to get in the weeds. I am Jeremy Lambert. That is SP3. And guys, we have a stacked show, hopefully, for everybody. Only promoting the guests because we've had some scheduling issues this week, but everybody showed up, It's all worked out in the end. We are scheduled to be joined by Charles Mason at 10:30. We are scheduled to be joined by Masha Slamovich shortly after that. So hopefully everything works out. Until then, we're going to talk plenty of wrestling. We got AEW Dynamite last night to talk about. We got AEW Grand Slam Australia this weekend to talk about. There's Friday Night SmackDown tomorrow where nothing's announced as usual. TNA, Josh Alexander's last match airs tonight against Eric Young. ROH, they're going to throw somebody over the cruise ship tonight. That's what I heard anyway. Plenty to talk about in the world of wrestling. SP3, how you doing, buddy?
What up, though? How you doing, Jeremy? I am back in the UK. That is my announcement to start off the.
I was wondering.
If you notice the change of background, I am back in UK time zone. I was traveling while most of you were watching Dynamite and most of you went to sleep. I got here around 1 a.m. your Eastern time, which is like 6 a.m. here. And for some reason, the cab ride took ridiculously long. Usually it's like an hour and a half from the train station or like from the airport. It was like 3 hours. It was ridiculous. But I was able to watch all of Dynamite in the taxi ride. So, hey, I used my time well, came here, was with the family, had a little bit, took a nap, and now I'm here. Ready to do this. Ready to do this. Then I got AE Ramble. I got to deal with Jimmy, who messaged me while I was on the plane. I just get off the plane. I get messages like, during Black History Month, F this show. I'll watch tomorrow. That's the 3 messages he sent me. So that was my first indication of what Dynamite was Jimmy's messages. And then I watched the show. I'm like, it's actually a good show. What is he talking about? And then I was like, oh, Willow Nightingale is back on the show and she gets attacked before she speaks. That's a big pet peeve for Jimmy. If you know Jimmy, he's a big Willow Nightingale fan. So I pinpointed what was his issue with the show last night.
I was trying to think. Yeah, the Willow thing makes sense. It was like Hurt Business did well. Like Hurt Syndicate.
He had me worried. I look at the first verses I see is during Black History Month. I'm like, did the Guns beat the Hurt Syndicate? You want to say hi?
Oh, that being back in the UK means the run-in.
Say Hello. Hi, Jeremy.
Hi, Jeremy.
How are you?
Say hi in the weeds.
How in the weeds? We're going to play My Talking Tom 2.
You're going to play My Talking Tom 2? It's going to be fun. Okay. Gotta love it.
Back in the UK means the closet run-ins from the youngest. We love it. We do love it. Yeah, I was wondering what he might be talking about. The Willow thing makes sense though. I was like, Swerve and Ricochet weren't really on this show.
No, that was one of my like. I liked like the little video package and stuff that they did for that, but I wanted a little bit more to sink my teeth into coming off of last week. I would have liked if Ricochet did his part of that video package promo in the ring or something.
And My World got beat up by Megan Bayne, but I mean that was always going to be a squash match. So yeah, Willow getting attacked by Marina Shafir. They remembered that was a thing because that was a thing.
Yeah, they completely forgot about that. Willow returned at Full Gear and attacked Marina Shafir. They forgot about it for 4 months, just like the trios titles.
And the trios titles were back, Bless. We had the trios titles back.
First title. I can't believe they admitted that on national TV. First title defense since November. That's quite ridiculous. That means this one storyline has kept both the AEW World Championship and Trios Championships hostage.
Well, we think the AEW World title's in the briefcase. We think. It's not in the briefcase, though? SP3, your thumbs are not in briefcases, and you should leave a thumbs up on this video. Maybe your thumb's in a briefcase if it's like cut off. What is happening? I just said glitching fireworks with a thumbs up there. That's never happened before. Leave a thumbs up on the video, everybody. Subscribe to the channel if you've not already subscribed. Tap the bell for notifications. We do this show every single weekday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 10 a.m. to noon Eastern, or longer than noon Eastern, like yesterday, where we went till about 1 o'clock because Joey Janela joined us, and we did like an hour with Joey. It ruled. Joey was fantastic. We're going to do a watch along with Joey at some point where we watch all of his carry job matches, which will be fantastic.
Makes sense.
Leave a thumbs up, everybody.
I thought that interview was very well done. I'm very interested in Joey Janela's alt world road to WrestleMania. I'm very interested.
He's told that story before where he pitched going against The Rock and doing like the deranged paparazzi thing. So last time he was on the show, which was over like a year and a half ago, he told the same story. I guess I brought that upon myself because I asked, like, is he facing John Cena at WrestleMania? And so he just dove right into that. I love though, like, I don't know if Joey's ever like doing a bit or if he's being truthful with stuff. But when he's like, yeah, the Rizzler injured his hand ringing the bell at Full Gear, I'm like, that's possible. I could see that. He said Giancarlo, the media guy for AEW. So yeah, Giancarlo was wrapping his hand and put ice on his hand and everything. And he sent me a picture. And I'm like, that could be a Janela like bit of like, yeah, he's just fucking around. Or it's very possible the Rizzler like injured his hand because he rang the bell too hard. That's the moneymaker for the Rizzler. What if he can't do like all of that? Like, what's he got? You know, he's just got to make the face. It's just that, but no hand. He's got like the wrapped hand trying to do, and then it doesn't work. It looks like he's shaving himself if he tries to do all that.
I didn't quite like get how famous the Costco guys was until I saw them. I think they were referencing like some Netflix movie I was watching. And then they were on the NFL social media for the Super Bowl. I was like, these guys, like, this was probably one of the better recent moves by AEW to bring them in.
They need to do more. Like, I don't understand how they're not doing more with these guys. Big Boom says he's wrestling at Revolution, but you don't see it. Like, he's not been on television since Hammerstein. They did the one thing at Hammerstein, and they haven't been back.
Just go with that. Just do that. Do Big Boom AJ, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Bandito versus the Learning Tree.
That should be Big Boom against Chris Jericho, and he beats Jericho for the ROH
No, you got to build to that. Yeah, that's all in. What are you?
Well, they've been built. That's fair. I'm
all in. That's too big. That's like
Chris Jericho,
like,
ROH.
That's on the level of Cena and Logan Paul to me. Like Jericho and Big Boom AJ. Come on.
Chris Jericho, ROH champion till All In. Are you good with that?
I mean, to be fair, let's be fair. If you want to rant right off the bat, now that I'm back in the UK, we get a UK SP3 rant. They have not built not a single challenger for this Ring of Honor World Championship since the dude beat Cardona at Final Battle. You could say, oh, Bandito is being built now. All right. I mean, I was more interested in Bandito versus Brian Keefe, and they delivered on Collision. And they did something, probably a planned out spot, but it made sense with, Bandito being the most wanted, Brian Keefe being the bounty hunter. They do that duel on Collision. And then I watched Dynamite last night. After last week when I came on this show on Thursday and I was like, oh my God, even the Learning Tree segment was good on Dynamite the week prior. That's why I was like, I don't know what people are talking about. People are like saying, oh, this Dynamite was better than even last week. No, it wasn't. Because the Learning Tree was not as good as they were last week. They did a segment that we've seen now a dozen times. And I didn't see the point of anything. It was just for Jericho to do the dual spot that Brian Keefe did with Bandito, but that got over huge. This crowd last night did not react, or Tuesday night did not react to that. they did all the light show and all this other. I was like, Jericho taking something that works and then burying it into the ground is becoming too common of a thing.
That's the bit, though. That's the bit. You don't get the high level thinking of Christopher Jericho, SP3. You don't.
And we only got like 20 seconds of Hobbs and Bill going at it. Like, no, it wasn't them beating the shit out of each other. They traded like 5 punches. Bill gets insiguried by Bandito, and then a spine buster. That is like the least effective brawl they've had since this feud started.
They'll get there. They'll get there. They're gonna face each other at AEW ROH Global Wars in Australia. You know when you can watch this? Stay tuned. You know where you can watch this? Stay tuned.
No, Honor Club. It's Honor Club. It's definitely Honor Club.
Do you know when? Stay tuned. Might air this week. Might air next week. Might air 3 weeks from now. Stay tuned.
This very much last night, it felt like it didn't really feel like a really good episode of Dynamite. Not to say it wasn't a really good episode of wrestling television, but it felt like a really good episode of Collision. Because a lot of the stuff that you expect from Collision, even like the start of the show when they didn't have audio for some reason, when they were doing the pictures of like Hurt Syndicate and the Guns and MJF and Dustin Rhodes and stuff, you would expect the commentator would have been commentating over that. But they messed up on that part. But that start was like, this feels, and then all the transitions, because it was a tape show, it felt like a tape Collision.
Fair. I thought it was a good episode of Dynamite.
Yeah,
Not as good as last week. Not as good as last week. I think what hurt is, we talked about this a little bit yesterday. I don't know how many people traveled out on Tuesday, so they missed the Tuesday taping. Because, Fletcher, Omega, Ospreay, and Takeshita weren't on the show last night. So it felt like they may have traveled on Tuesday. Yeah. I thought the Tony and Mariah video.
Takeshita, he was in
Japan. Takeshita was in Japan. Yes. Yeah, he was in Japan. I keep forgetting that. He was over in Japan wrestling on New Beginning. Tony and Mariah and Mercedes and Harley Cameron, that was all video package stuff. So it felt like they may have flown out on Tuesday as well.
Yeah, I was trying to look at her Mariah's outfit. Like, is this an outfit that she's worn before? Because it feels like why would the only build to one of your main events, both of your main events, was just a video package, another video package, and a 1-minute promo?
Yeah, because of that, it felt like they may have flown out on Tuesday. There was a lot of emphasis on, of course, the Moxley and Cope stuff. I think everything should be clear now. I was hearing that ringing in my headphones. I think it was my headphones, everybody. Apologies for that. I don't know what was going on with my headphones, but let me know if it's been fixed. I think it's okay. That's where I'm at is I think they flew out on Tuesday. And so they decided to focus around the Moxley stuff, which I thought for the most part was good. The part that I didn't care for is, why is Copeland being like, I want to show everybody the AEW World Title. Anyway, let me smash this briefcase with a spiked 2x4, which
like, what theoretically does that make?
Which theoretically would destroy the AEW World Title as well. Like,
he's not even like hitting the lock. Like that would make sense if he was using Spike to break the lock.
I was like, dude, wouldn't bolt cutters just work? Like, use some of those.
You literally use bolt cutters to get the handcuffs off Marina.
Like, you taking this spiked 2x4 and smashing the briefcase with it, that's going to destroy the title that is in it. Why would you do that? I thought that was kind of dumb. They got to the match that we all suspected at Revolution. People look real foolish thinking that this thing was not going to. People argued against this. SP3.
Really?
Oh yeah. When they came back.
Well, I did a whole podcast. I do a podcast, like I said, with Jimmy Baccarat. I mean, he was not for this matchup, but I was like, I know this is happening at Revolution.
Oh, I'm not. Look, everyone knows how I feel about Cope. I I don't have a whole he's fine, he's good. Don't need to see him in the world title picture. That's my issue.
No. He was so much better in the TNT title division.
Yeah, he was good in the TNT title picture.
It was basically using whatever amount of star power he has left and elevating a division. And the feud with Christian was very well done because Christian is one of the better characters on this show. But just putting him in the main event scene and the state of the main event scene, and man, it's like anything that's good about the Death Riders, I'm always reminded of the bad of it. Like last night's trios tag team matchup was a good matchup. It was really fun. I thought the Undisputed Kingdom, they looked good. Roddy Strong is such a great hot tag. Like when he came in for that hot tag, I was like, oh man, we need some Roddy and Kyle. It's cool. We get this one trios matchup, but we need Roddy and Kyle in this tag team division because they can really elevate things over there when he was doing that hot tag and stuff. And I like Willa Yuta continuing to kind of use the sneaky, nefarious ways. And he feels like the one member of the Death Riders that has gotten heat for this angle. Like he still gets consistent heat. We get the Yuta sucks chance and stuff like that. And then when you get finishes like that, that furthers his heat as well. So good matchup. But then I'm just reminded, I'm like, so I probably won't see these titles again until May, right?
Probably not. I don't know. Actually, with the ops as they're being called.
Oh man, that needs to be the champions. Like, yo, when he said that name, I got so hyped. I was like, yo, Joe, you are so. Why is Joe on a show that has the Hurt Syndicate, Swerve Strickland, Ricochet, all these guys? He's the blackest person on the show.
I suspect we'll get the ops going for the trios titles. At least we should. If you're going to put them together, they're going to face the patriarchy. It seems like the next logical step for them. We shall see when it comes to that. But yeah, people tried to say when Cope came back and targeted Moxley, people were just like, oh, they're just going to do a quick match and then they'll move on because this story is about getting the young talent over. That's the real story here. And I'm like, I don't think you guys understand. This is the match at Revolution. Like, that's what it's going to be. And as people argued against me, somebody called it a detour. They said, this is a detour for Moxley. No, this is the destination.
This is the destination. I was trying to figure out ways of how we can change the title in this matchup because I don't see Moxley and the company staying afloat as far as perception, because we're on the rise now. We're on a good period as far as AEW reception all throughout social media. Following last night's show, a lot of people bringing up, and I brought it up as well, that we're on a very good streak right now. Ever since the January 29th edition of Dynamite from Huntsville, Alabama, which was a awful show. That was an awful freaking show. From Huntsville, Alabama. That's the show that had the Jeff Jarrett versus Claudio matchup. And, it ended with Mercedes and Yuka, which was a good match in a vacuum, but didn't do anything towards anything or set up anything like that. So that show was like the last bad show, but Collision has been consistently great since the homecoming in Jacksonville. Dynamite has been really good the last 2 weeks. We have a good perception right now. I don't see that staying if Moxley is holding this title for 5 more months.
He's gonna hold it past Revolution, and then I don't think they're putting it on Cope. I still don't know who the person is to dethrone Moxley. I know that you still think it's Darby.
No, it's Kenneth Omega.
I would agree, and I would love for that to be the answer. But there's no indication that that's happening. Yeah. There's just no real indication that it is happening. I would love for it to be that. I would love for that to be the answer. I thought that should have been the answer when Omega came back, but I don't know. I think Omega is facing Fletcher at Revolution. I think they're going to go there. Maybe they do Ospreay and Fletcher for the third time. And they do Omega and Takeshita is the way they go. But I think we're getting 2 singles matches out of the tag match on Saturday.
I wouldn't mind that. I I think the way to go is the former of what you said. It's Fletcher and Omega, because Fletcher can look great against Omega even in a loss, and Fletcher can take the loss. Whereas I don't think Takeshita should be losing to Omega right now. I don't think Ospreay should be losing to Omega right now. But I will say, if they did do Ospreay and Omega at Revolution, coming off of them teaming together, and make that like a number one contenders match for who faces like Moxley at Dynasty or Double or Nothing, sign me up. Because I said once they did that stare down on that what was it, the January 8th Dynamite this year, I was like, Omega and Ospreay are the guys you build behind. This is your Cody and Roman, where they are like beating everybody in the company, and the only people they can lose to is each other.
I don't know if they're gonna go to Omega and Ospreay as quick as Revolution. Like that feels like you can do that at All In potentially. But I also think
they're doing Omega and Okada.
Oh, they're doing Omega and Okada at All In. I do think that Swerve and Hangman is a potential All In match as well, though, for the title. And I don't mind if Hangman is the person who dethrones Moxley. I think there's a way to get there as well, because it looks like they're going to do Hangman and MJF at Revolution.
You could make that a number one contenders matchup, because both of their goals is to become a 2-time AEW World Champion.
Yeah. So I think Hangman can win that, and then Hangman and Moxley would be a way to go. Darby was the logical person to beat Moxley, but because of the Everest stuff, he's just out of the picture right now. And I don't know if you can afford to wait until basically All In, because he's climbing in April. He might not be back for Double or Nothing. So if he's not back for Double or Nothing, then you have to wait until All In, unless you do it on TV. But for that moment, that feels like you want to build pay-per-view for that moment. If you know you have Darby back by Double or Nothing, I think you can hold off and Darby can win the title at Double or Nothing. But if you don't have Darby,
they'll probably do it. They'll have Darby return at Double or Nothing and then do the title match at All In.
That's where you think it's gonna
go? Yeah, that's what this whole thing is building to. And yeah, I understand, guys. I see people in chat like, oh, it's Omega and Okada at All In. He's clearly not going for the title. He should, though. There's no match that's gonna be bigger than Omega and Okada at your biggest show of the year. So what do? You make it bigger. You give him the world title. You do world title versus continental title. You make that the main event. You make it bigger than all the other 4 other matches in a stadium in United States. First time ever. AEW All In Texas. Like, this is just a no-brainer. I don't know why they make things more difficult for themselves. And the reason why I said Omega and Ospreay at Revolution is I think that Omega and Ospreay will be the main event of All In London next year. But I think we're going to get the third matchup this year. So I'd rather them do it early to give us more time, more space before they main event All In Wembley Stadium next year.
Why do you have to do it at all, though?
They don't. You're absolutely right. They don't have to do it at all this year. But I don't know. I wanted a third match without a title on the line. They have all they've done is matches for titles. They've done the 2 U.S. title matches at Wrestle Kingdom and Forbidden Door in 2023, but they haven't had like a non-title match. And this would kind of be the match to determine like who's the main face of AEW, because they really established themselves during the build to this Grand Slam matchup as like the 2 top guys in the company. And no, international title and continental title is not the same thing, guys. No, I don't want to see Takeshita lose the international title. I don't want to see Kenny Omega win the international title. I was one person that didn't want MJF to win the international title last year. And no, I'm not saying, oh, the international title is a mid-card title. You can't have main eventers winning main card titles. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that Kenny Omega deserves and should be the AEW World Champion. And Okada and Omega should have the top prize in the company on the line, because that's the biggest match at your biggest show of the year. So no, international title is not a good replacement.
They should create a new title for Omega and Okada. the AEW All In Championship. Only on the line once a year. And you get a ring if you win it. And then
they
it's
keep the
never
title in
seen again.
Texas.
Yeah.
And they keep the title in Texas.
No, the title
in the
just
stadium.
the title stays wherever All In goes. It only travels to the All In event. So it'll go to London next year when they're back in London for All In. So it'll travel there. But it won't go anywhere else. It's only at the All In events. So wherever All In goes, that's where the All In title is with.
That sounds a very familiar idea. I feel like I've seen it before, like last year. To answer Matthew Hooks, because he's a good brother, always supporting us in the chat, follow me here. I'm going to repeat what I said before, because your question doesn't make sense to me. He says, so who is Okada losing the belt to? Okada will defend the Continental Championship at All In against Kenny Omega. That's already been teased to us and set up. What I'm saying is that Kenny Omega wins the world title at like Double or Nothing. And then it's title versus title at All In. You make the Omega and Okada match as big as humanly possible. It's already a huge match. It's their first ever match in the United States, their first ever match in AEW, first ever match outside of Japan, first ever match outside of New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's going to be huge. The Continental title is not huge. The AEW World title is huge. Kenny Omega being the one to dethrone Jon Moxley makes so much sense with the Death Rider story, because he is like the face of the company. He made the company possible. Him coming in to save the company, save the AEW World Championship, considering a lot of people consider him the greatest champion in the title's history. All of that makes sense. Everything that I'm saying should make sense to y'all if y'all just think for a second.
Don't have to take shots at people, SP3. Telling
I'm not taking shots. I'm not taking shots at everybody. I'm just thinking that the AEW fan base seems to kind of be split. There's people that's like me, that's like, and you kind of what you've kind of expressed, that's like, I don't know how it makes sense to wait for a guy that's climbing Mount Everest 5 more months for a storyline, a main event level storyline that is not working all the way. It is not working week after week. There's like so much going on here that you should change and just switch it up to kind of put it on the people that are hot right now. That's all I'm trying to make the argument for.
I agree. I think they should have pivoted. I don't know if they're going to. I think it was, if the plan was always Darby, kind of think it was a poorly laid out plan when you knew Darby was going to climb Mount Everest. No. That was not up for debate. That was not up for discussion. You knew Darby was going to be away during this time. So I don't know if he should have been involved as much as he was during this time to get people invested in him dethroning Moxley. If anything, he should have been taken out earlier and off television earlier. So he was kind of out of sight, out of mind. Instead, he was kind of the main guy leading the charge. And that way, and then people really wanted to see him rise up and dethrone Moxley. If they're waiting for Darby, they're going to be waiting for a while. Is it worth it to have this wait so you can crown Darby at whatever time you're going to crown Darby? Maybe Double or Nothing if he's back. Maybe later than that if he's not back for Double or Nothing. I don't know if it's fully worth it if the rest of it, the way it's been laid out, has gone. Because it hasn't gone great. I think they've hit a little bit of momentum with the Cope stuff. It took a while to get there. It's still not my favorite thing in the world, but they're making it make some sense. It still lost the plot of what it started as when people like Daniel Garcia and Private Party, by the way, Private Party can't even get on television now. Daniel Garcia is kind of sort of doing trio stuff, but he's also the TNT champion. Remember that? And then the Outrunners were attacked by the Death Riders a few weeks ago as part of the Ricky Morton stuff. Now the Outrunners are just, anyway, guess we got to save Bandito here from the learning tree.
that whole 12-man tag that everybody got pissed off about, it did the natural kind of transition for Powerhouse Hobbs and Outrunners to go with the Learning Tree instead of the Death Riders.
Yeah. So you just got out of there. It's like the people who the Death Riders have wronged have just decided they got us. Gee Willikers, guys, they got us. Guess we should just move on here. It's like, why? Why are you moving? These people are holding the company hostage. If all of you band together, like you banded together for the first couple of weeks, you can maybe dethrone the Death Riders. Instead, it's just Cope and Jay White. And look, they did a good job last night.
They did so good last night. Them working together, it was just like, am I watching like two evolutions of the same Pokemon? Because Jay White came off like he was the ultimate opportunist. He was like rated like I was started like make their like comparisons to like their career and stuff like that. Like they were both very good, kind of young, up and coming baby faces starting off their career. But once both of them turned heel, remember their careers. Once both of them turned heel, we all saw that is where they excel at. But they're still able to play their kind of heel personas, but be these kind of cool babyface characters. And they came off very cool last night with the whole plan that they had to steal the briefcase and take the briefcase and hold it hostage. Say, we'll meet you at the end of the night. And then they stood tall against the whole Death Rider. I was like, y'all not even trying to make this Death Riders group look like I was like, two guys washed them. Oh, shit.
Well, the Death Riders had a match earlier. They were a little worn out. You know, what can you do on that? They were worn out. Eric suggesting have Cope win at Revolution. Christian cashes in. Christian is the champ until Darby comes back. Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know. I've resided myself to thinking that like Christian's going to cash in on Darby and immediately win it. But I thought that was going to happen earlier. Instead, it might not happen until later. They've definitely pulled back on Christian has the contract because now he's just doing trio stuff with the ops. So,
I feel like they're gonna it's gonna be out of sight, out of mind until they just want to just throw it out there and have him cash in, which I think is a good thing to do because having it out of sight, out of mind for a while will make it a bigger pop when he does cash in.
Yeah. I don't know if he's gonna cash in on Cope at Revolution. I don't know if Cope's gonna win. I think it makes some sense. That doesn't feel, and look, based on how the Death Rider story has gone, maybe this is the correct ending. It doesn't feel like the most satisfying ending to this whole story if Cope is the one who ends it and then immediately loses to Christian.
I booked that same finish for Christian to not eventually drop it to Darby because that would make no sense. Like Darby needs to beat one of the greatest AEW world champions of all time. If y'all can't get it to Moxley, then like I said, Omega wins it and then Darby beats him. Like we could do Omega having the title and he doesn't have to hold it for too long. He held it for nearly a year the first time. You don't need to hold it another year the second time. So if you want to really put the title on Darby so badly, let Omega be the guy that puts him over at the end. The guy that is the face of the company, really, even on a higher level than Moxley to me, is Kenny Omega. I think that would be a significant win that kind of replaces Darby not being able to beat Moxley in a way. But I'm just sick of these major wrestling promotions whose big booking idea, you got one person over here that's like, let's do a sex angle. You got another person over here being like, let's do a pull apart brawl. Another person over here is like, well, let's just throw everything out there and just throw anything against the wall. And then Triple H and Tony Khan says, you know what, guys, I got the best idea. Let's wait. Yo, like I can name several different storylines where that was the big idea. Wait, I got it. Wait, there's more. Let's wait. Rhea Ripley gets injured after WrestleMania, and we're going to put the title on Liv Morgan, and Becky Lynch is going to leave. What should we do with the women's division? You got the GPS, and we just follow it, so we're going to wait. Jade Cargill's been champion for almost 2 years, and it's getting stale in AEW, and she might be leaving the company soon. But Kris Statlander is the person we want to dethrone her and end her winning streak, but she's injured right now. So what should we do? We got a big show coming up this week, Dynamite and Collision and Revolution and Grand Slam, and you know what we're gonna do with that storyline? We're gonna wait. I'm sick of that. I am over that. Stop doing that. That is not a logical thing to do if you have week-to-week episodic television. We cannot do the wait game.
I disagree. Everything should be waiting. That's what we should do. We don't have to wait any longer for our next guest. If he's ready, you like that transition there? I did that pretty well, I thought. If our guest is ready, he can leave us a thumbs up. There we go. All right. Joining us now, he is going to compete in the JCW Jersey J Cup this weekend. He's kind of at a disadvantage. He's in a 5-way match. I don't know about this. I feel like there's things against him, working against him in there. It's Charles Mason joining us now on the show. Charles, how you doing?
Hey, how you guys doing? Yeah, I heard you say a disadvantage. It's the second time I've kind of had the odds stacked against me in this J Cup, and I kind of get why. Right, I'm a dangerous man myself, and it probably takes more than one person to get me out. I don't think anybody would be happy seeing me leave with that J Cup and that championship.
Now, when you learned of the bracket and you saw, okay, you've got Fuego del Sol, Mr. Danger, Sidney Akeem, Teriyaki, besides the fact that, all right, why are they putting me against 4 people where everybody else, outside of the triple threat match between Jack Cartwheel, Marcus Mathers, and Jackson Drake, why am I getting 4 opponents? What were your thoughts when you saw these 4 opponents?
Yeah, I mean, I think I deserve a marquee opponent, and instead they put me up against people like Mr. Danger, who I've been in the ring with before and I've beaten before. Fuego del Sol. Now Fuego's the one that kind of stands out, as well as Sidney Akeem. I've never faced Sidney before, but me and Fuego have a bit of a history. And then there's Teriyaki. I don't know who that is. I've never been around him, never met him. So I take offense to this matchup, you know. But if I win, when I win, the second round is intriguing. I don't want to look too far ahead, but I face whoever comes out victorious between Atticus and Joey. And Joey I've beaten before, I faced before. Atticus, now that's intriguing. That's something that makes me salivate, just the thought of being in the ring with Atticus Kogar.
So you say you're looking forward to coming out. Who's going to come out the winner of that matchup? Is there anyone else in the bracket that you wouldn't mind seeing coming up in the Jersey J Cup?
There's a few people, right? On the opposite side, because I'm going to win my bracket. I think that's a foregone conclusion. On the other side, there's one matchup that I'm interested in seeing the results to. That has my trainer, Amazing Red, going up against someone who I've beaten before and someone who holds that championship in Masha Slamovich. And it's been a couple years since me and Masha have touched, and I've been waiting to get my hands on her.
We're scheduled to be joined by Masha in about 15 minutes.
Oh yeah,
or so. Yeah. I mean, if you got time, we can get you both on here.
If I have enough time.
That'll be
busy man.
Do you have? So I'm gonna ask. Do you have maybe a write-in question for Masha that we can ask her?
Do I have a question for Masha?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess how does it feel knowing that her reign is going to come to an end and that she's going to have to feel my arms around her throat squeeze once again? How does she feel knowing that that's her future?
That's a dark question. I look forward to her answer on that. You're coming off a big few weeks here. So really the entire first half of 2024. I know it's not even a half, but Amazing Red, Richard Holiday in a cage match at Hammerstein, Ricky Starks, Steve Macklin. I mean, that's a hell of a run there for 2025 thus far. Like, what's your 2025 experience been like, and what stands out to you in these first, 8 weeks of the year?
Yeah, I mean my 2025 has been stacked. It's been great though. I've come out victorious, more times than not so far. Um, 2024 was a rough year for me. Towards the end of it, as you know, I was incarcerated. Someone turned their backs on me. They snitched me out. I've since been pardoned, so that part of my life is behind me. But it took 3 months away from me, so I have a lot of time to make up. Um, I don't care much for lists until you insult me, right? 2 years ago, and in PWI, it was like 250 or something like that. Last year, um, I fell all the way to four in the 400s. That's an insult. That's an insult. So I have a chip on my shoulder. 2025, January. That was the matches that you named were just January. And now we're in February and I'm going to win the J Cup. So, I'm coming out with a bang and we'll see what the rest of the year has in store for me. But yeah, Charles Mason is going to be one of the biggest names in wrestling by the end of this year.
So you mentioned earlier your background being trained by Amazing Red. I am a native New Yorker myself, so I did see you during the start of your career over in like House of Glory and the independent scene, going all around the East Coast. So how much has like it changed for you as far as like your mental and how you approach the wrestling game from like that first day with Amazing Red in the gym in Brooklyn to now?
Yeah, it's nice to know that you've been following my career for some time and you've probably seen a massive change in who I am since then, right? I think I started around end of 2017, 2018, and the real shift came during the pandemic, right? I started off with my brother. His name was Alex Mason, and then we had a falling out. And then I would ask myself, why am I here? Why am I really here? And I'm here because I enjoy inflicting pain on other people. And when that switch happened, I embraced it and I take it with me to every single match. Everything I do is to bring pain to someone else because that's what brings me joy. Even saying it right now brings me joy. There's an intensity that just flows through my body when I'm hurting somebody else. And that has elevated me. That's been the thing that's taken Charles Mason to new levels, right? And I will continue to embrace that. I will continue to embrace this monster that has grown inside me. And as I said, by the end of this year, that monster is going to be everywhere.
Indeed, I think so. I wanted to ask a follow-up because, like I said, I've watched you from the beginning to now. How like compare like your original ring gear to what you wear now? How comfortable are you in that? Because I always wonder that watching you wrestle, because I remember you in like regular wrestling gear and now seeing you in the button-down shirt, the slacks, the shoes. Like, how comfortable is that for you?
Yeah, that's most people think it's uncomfortable. And they're custom suits. They're custom suits that I can move around in. I can still fly around the ring. There's no limitations. When I was in gear, right, this was what something Amazing Red had taught me and tried to ingrain in me at the beginning of my career, that this is what a wrestler looks like. But I'm not a regular wrestler. I'm not your average wrestler. I'm not here for the big contracts. I have money. I don't need a contract. I don't need to look the part. I wear a suit. Right now I just came from the gym. So, but most of the day I'm in a suit, and that's where I feel comfortable in. I think it's a bit more impressive, and it's a testament to my skill to show that I can keep up with people who have, trunks and tights and they need that to get around. And I'm in Chelsea boots in the ring, and I'm moving with the best of them. This on Saturday, I'm in the J Cup. I'm going to be with 4 guys who are high flyers, and they run around, they jump off the ropes, and I can do all that stuff too. I gave a little teaser this week, but you're going to see I can do everything they can do.
Where did this thirst for pain come from? Was this developed early, or did it grow later in your life and career?
I would say it developed early in my life. You know, as a toddler, as a young man, I remember when I was about 7, 8 years old, there was a stray cat that I had saw, and he was limping around. I don't know what had happened to him, but I just felt this sudden urge to inflict a bit more pain, and that's where it started. It started with small animals, and then the more I grew, and as a teenager, um, I remember being in class, and someone said something to me that they shouldn't have said, and I punched this man in the face, and I never stopped. They had to rip me off, and I just couldn't stop. And you know, it's grown over the years. It's grown, and I've, you know, been able to harness this and put it towards professional wrestling. You know, I do also in my extracurricular time, you know, unleash these urges and desires also, but that's more for me to know, and less for you to know, you know. But I've been able to harness this, but it's always been there. It's always been there since the beginning.
I wanted to ask, because you said earlier you've been betrayed by some of your close friends, and we mentioned that you faced Richard Holiday inside of a steel cage at the Hammerstein Ballroom. So who is part of your inner circle now? Who are your closest friends in the business, coming off the heels of being betrayed by so many people?
Yeah, I mean, it's if I'm being honest, it's really hard to trust anybody anymore. In early JCW, I had Slade and Bam Sullivan as my mercenaries, and Bam didn't have the stomach for what we were doing, and he turned on me, and I had Slade take care of him, and eventually I did also. And then Parrow joined me, and I thought Parrow would be loyal to me, and he was for some time, until another man with money came in, and I don't know if it was jealousy or what that drove Parrow to side with Richard. And I thought Richard was just like me, but he's not. You know, just because we come from wealth together, he did not have that beast inside him that I tried to unleash, and I really tried my best. And he showed signs of it with Hammerstone, but he's really just a selfish person. He wasn't ready to be part of like-minded people. At the moment, Slade, who is my best friend, is the only man I can trust. Slade has his own goals. Slade has certain things that he wants to do, and certain people that he wants to hurt, and he's going to do his thing and I'm going to do mine. But I know that Slade will always be by my side. And if you follow me in House of Glory, I have a few young little minions that I'm trying to help unleash something inside of them and turn them into true cold-blooded killers. But aside from those people, I don't trust anybody else.
So there's a man that you took out last year. His name is Jordan Oliver. He's still sidelined. I don't know when he's supposed to be back, but are you got a lot of ops, you got a lot of enemies. Is Jordan Oliver a guy that you're watching your back from? And you know, you lost the match, but I was there. I was in Toronto. You lost the match. Afterwards, you completely destroyed his knee. You even said you knew it right off the bat. You said, pretty sure I just, tore your ACL. Good luck. Good luck recovering. Are you worried about Jordan Oliver and his return? And I don't want to ask what goes through your mind in that, because I'm pretty sure you've already answered that. But you knew very quickly that you tore this man's ACL.
Yeah. Not only did I tear his ACL, I tore his meniscus as well. I'm not worried about Jordan Oliver. Jordan Oliver should be worried if he's ever going to properly walk again, let alone wrestle. Jordan Oliver made the mistake of publicly saying what his ailments were, what was wrong with him, what was hurting him. And like a shark in blood-infested water, I'm going to attack. I'm going to smell blood in the water, and I'm going to feast. And that's what I did. And when I was wrenching that knee back, that leg back, I heard a pop. I heard a pop that I've heard before, but this one was a little different. And I don't think we're going to be seeing Jordan anytime soon.
I'm sad to hear that. But I do appreciate how much you admire your own work and your lust for pain. So I wanted to ask you because, like I said, I'm a very native New Yorker. I was following like the independent scene in the New York East Coast area through like the late 2010s into the 2020s before the pandemic. And I think there's two people who are like the best heels, the best evil people, the best dastardly people in pro wrestling on the indie scene, and it's you and there's Darius Carter.
Mhm.
So for the people out there who might believe that Darius is the most evil person on the New York independent scene, what makes you different and that much more the personification of evil compared to Darius?
You know, I have quite a bit of respect for Darius and what he does, and admire his work a bit. Um, and what, the way he can manipulate joints and make people submit. I like to see that. But the difference between myself and Darius is Darius has surrounded himself with mediocrity for far too long. Darius has been doing this a lot longer than I have. And some would say I've surpassed him already. Darius is, he's, like I said, he's talented and he has the tools, right? But I don't think has fully embraced that lust for pain, and I think he's kind of losing his thirst for it. And I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but me and Darius are supposed to face off in July at the Mecca, and I think I can reignite that lust for him and bring that thirst back for him. And but we're gonna see who's a bit more evil, as you say, who's willing to go the lengths that they're willing to go.
So we play a game on this show, and I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. We typically play a game called Partner Promo Punch in the Face. I give you 3 names, you pick one to partner with, you pick one to promo with, you pick one to punch in the face. That doesn't seem as fun for someone like you. So I'm gonna switch it up, and we're gonna go. You'll see where I'm going with this. But murder, and team up with.
Okay.
Okay.
I know you should go murder, injure, team up with.
Well, when I give you the names, you'll explain why
All
I'm
right.
going with these. So I got 2 kind of versions of this. The first one is a non-wrestling version. I'm gonna go Patrick Bateman, Hannibal Lecter, and Dexter Morgan.
Okay.
Murder, and team up with.
I'm murdering Dexter. And then I'm teaming up with Hannibal Lecter and murdering Patrick Bateman.
That's fair.
Smart move.
Yeah, I think Hannibal Lecter is the most intelligent of them all, and that's someone I want by my side. Patrick Bateman is a bit what's the word I'm looking for? He's kind of on edge all the time, and then doesn't really think through his actions. And then Dexter kind of has a bit of a good heart sometimes, and I don't have any room for that. And maybe me and Hannibal Lecter can share meals together. It'd be nice and lovely.
All right, now I'm gonna give you 3 wrestling names, and I'm gonna make it to where I try not to add any of your people you're kind of close with or you've been close with. I'm gonna give you 3 names that I don't feel like you like too much, but it's still the same game. We'll still go injure. We don't want to condone murdering other wrestlers on here, although I advocate that. I advocate for that all the time. Yeah, fair. Okay, however you want to frame it, but Masha Slamovich, Jordan Oliver, and Ricky Starks.
Okay, and we're doing murder, team, and what else?
Still murder. Yeah, murder team,
murder.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. I'm gonna say I'm murdering Jordan Oliver for sure. Right? You guys miss him. A lot of people miss him. Let's put him out of his misery. Let's just take away all hope. Jordan's dead. And then between Ricky and Masha, I think I'm gonna kill Ricky. As much as I look forward to taking the JCW title away from Masha, and I've shared a ring with Masha, to me, Masha is one of the most ruthless wrestlers out there right now, especially ones that I've shared a ring with. And she's one of the few people that I enjoy watching. She's another person who likes to choke people out. And you ever see the face she makes when she's doing it? She might not have outright said it, right? But she's just like me. There's something that's happening when she's choking people out. Her blood is rushing. There is something going on, and I think that me and her together would create a lot of havoc for people. We'll do some murders together. Who knows?
I mean, you've seen her when she's causing pain with Killer Kelly. It does feel a certain way to some people.
Yeah. She looks a bit excited.
Charles, thank you for joining us today. I'd wish you good luck this weekend, but I feel like your opponents need it more than you. So good luck to your opponents this weekend. Let everybody know what you got coming up and where they can find you at.
Yeah, I mean, I have the J Cup coming up. House of Glory, March 15th. We have Mercedes Monet will be in the house, and as well as Danhausen. I'm not sure if I'll be there. We'll see. But go check that out. And then on Instagram, I think my handle is like Charles.Mason. I don't even know what it is, honestly. But it's Charles Mason on Twitter and on Instagram. So follow me there.
Go. Thank you, Charles. We appreciate it. Everybody can watch the J Cup this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. It is on Triller Plus. So sign up to Triller Plus. You can watch it. You can watch Charles murder 4 other men and then murder. I don't know if you know this, Joey Janela. If you face him in the next round, I'm sorry to Joey. I'm gonna kind of snitch on him here. He's got a ruptured bicep. Yeah. So if you see him in the next round, he's
made that quite public, and
Joey has put that out there. I'm not saying anything that's not known.
Yeah, I told him if it's me and him in the next round, I'm gonna rip the muscle right off the bone.
See, Charles has already put it out there, so I'm not giving him any information he doesn't know.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get Charles on my good side here. You see this man? I don't want him against me.
That's fair.
I'll find.
He knows I'm a New Yorker, so I think I'm good.
You told me where you're from, so it's gonna be easy to find you. You have a little green screen background. I'm gonna find where you told me you were at the Toronto show. I'll hunt you down.
Oh, well, I'm not going to be in Toronto too often. No, this is why I need you on my side, Charles. I got other wrestlers against me. Cole Radrick, he's against me. Can you murder him, please?
I will. He hates me. He hates my guts.
I don't like him. So
yeah. Well, so we'll find pleasure in go Cole out.
I advocate for murder all the time on this show, Charles.
We need more of that. We need more murder.
See, I'm saying me and Charles are alike. I think we can team.
No, we're not alike.
Okay,
don't stay in your place. Sorry. Understand? We're not alike.
We think alike, maybe.
Right. Well, enjoy speaking with Masha. Ask her those questions. Ask her what it's gonna feel like to lose to me. And on Saturday, Charles Mason's gonna kill them all.
Thank you, Charles.
Thank you, Charles.
Enjoy your weekend. Right. Sorry to your opponents. There we go. We almost had something. We were on the same wavelength.
We're vibing, and then you pushed it.
I've never been so scared in my life when he said we're not alike. I was like, oh fuck. Oh man. He said
you're in New York. I know where you're at. I'm not even going to mention that I'm in the UK.
I was not about to give away my location. So yep, green screen. Exactly. A green screen is where we're at.
Exactly. We're in green screen territory. We are riding with the family, Vin Diesel.
I live my life a quarter mile at a time. No one needs to know where I live, although I've said it plenty of times before, but doesn't need to know where I live. All right. We have another guest joining us now. He is also in the Jersey J Cup this weekend. He's facing Ares in the first round. You've seen him on New Japan Wrestling as well. He is the one, the only Clark Connors is joining us. Clark, how you doing?
Yo, what's up, man? How you doing?
Doing well. How's you were in Japan just a few days ago. How's your travels been?
Yeah, terrible. I just got back. I just got back like a few hours ago, so I'm hurting. So I'm just trying to enjoy some sunshine, lay down a little bit.
It looks nice over there, wherever you're at.
Yeah, I'm in Arizona right now, so I'm just like perfect weather. Everything's great. So I'm chilling for at least another day before we get back on a plane, go kick some ass up in Jersey J Cup.
So you got the J Cup this weekend. You're facing Ares in the first round. What were your thoughts when you found out you're facing Ares in the first round?
Yeah, I've seen Ares wrestle before a few times up at Defy, and I think it's a sick matchup because he's the king of strange style, right? He moved the way he moves is very unique and orthodox and shit. So I always think that's very interesting to get in there with someone who moves like that, because it always allows me different ways that I can run through him with a spear. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter how well you be moving, as long as Clark Connor's coming at you at 30 miles an hour, ain't gonna stop anybody.
My question is to you. I'm a big New Japan fan. I'm a big fan of yours from your time in the LA dojo to now. How will you use kind of your experience in the Best of Super Juniors or Super Junior Tag League in this tournament that's more single elimination in comparison to those round robin tournaments you do over in Japan?
Yeah, no, I mean, so before I came over to do like Super Juniors and those tournaments, which first of all, they give you a ton of experience wrestling all different types of wrestlers. So I bring that into this tournament, as I expect to go very deep into it and face a whole litany of different people. I did actually the Super J Cup, the Japanese or New Japan version of it. I've done it twice actually. I was a young lion in those cases as early on, so I didn't make it too far. But it was just the idea of getting yourself mentally prepared, facing 5 opponents or 3 to 4 to 5 opponents in a short time period. And then I won the New Japan Young Lions, or not Young Lions, something on New Japan Strong. I don't know. I don't even remember what the fuck it was called, to tell you the truth. So
it was a Young Lion Cup, wasn't it?
No,
or
it wasn't the Young Lion
No?
Cup. No, I wrestled in the Young Lion Cup. I did pretty well. But no, it was the
Lions Break. It was Lions
Break.
Right?
Lions Break Crown. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's how you know how important it was as a tournament. But I did win that, so I feel good about winning these type of tournaments, and I got experience with it,
Is there anybody when you look at the bracket of like, all right, I want to get in the ring with this person?
Yeah, I mean, JCW brings in some serious heavy hitters, I look down the line at I've wrestled actually like a few of them anyways because they're New Japan guys, but obviously I think that the biggest goal for me would be to wrestle Masha, right? Like, I mean, and the only way that would happen if I looked at the brackets correctly is if in the final, because that's someone who's been defending that championship all around the world as a fucking she really exemplifies what we're looking for in champions. So I would love to take her down sometime,
Like I said before, I'm a huge New Japan fan. So I loved your performances since you were a young lion. Loved your breakout performance at Forbidden Door in 2022. Your work with Drilla Maloney in the tag team, the junior heavyweight tag team division. You've kind of been the stalwarts of that division. I say all of that to say your performance on commentary might have been your greatest of your career at New Beginning in Osaka, because you were sensational. I felt like it was me on commentary. So kind of tell us your experience, like being on commentary, especially for that Gabe Kidd Yota Tsuji match where you were just the fan speaking for all of us watching.
Yeah. Hey, well, actually, thank you a lot, because that commentary gig type thing just kind of got thrown in my lap because I wasn't really doing anything. So I decided, I'll go out there and just have some fun. I don't know. It's for me, like, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't watch a lot of wrestling. I do wrestling, but getting out and actually sitting in the crowd, basically, or front row seats, and I'm drinking 4 or 5 Sapporos, just like everybody else at home. Wrestling is fun as hell to watch, man, and when there's like stakes tied to it and true emotions tied to it, which is what as performers we always hope we can have, as athletes we always hope we can have with the crowd. I got that with Gabe, and with Tsuji. I've a long time known him. With Driller, Brett beating Shingo, and so those are the type of emotions that's just so easy just to kind of lose yourself in the moment a little bit. I only got into a little bit of trouble for saying the F word. I think I only said it 4 or 5 times, which for me, if you know me, if you know Clark Connors, that's like a 1,000% decrease of what was expected, at least within myself. So I was out there saying holy moly and geez Louise. You know what I mean?
I noticed the switch up after a while.
You know what I mean? Like I'm in there going just like I'm saying some fucking grandpa shit. You know what I mean? I'm sorry if I'm swearing right now. I didn't. I
No,
don't know
no,
if-
you can curse on
You're
this
good.
show.
Oh,
You,
okay,
no warnings. or
We're
anything
not
here.
gonna fight. You're not gonna get you in trouble. No.
Okay, yeah. No, but either way, it was cool, man. Like I mean, I'm not gonna want to do that as a career, like path change. You know what I mean? But it's fun to be able to go out there and just enjoy some wrestling. You know what I mean?
Now, you mentioned you got in trouble. Are you like talked to on the headset? Is Tanahashi in your ear? Are you getting fined? Like how do they relate to you? Hey, tone that down.
Yeah, it's actually more. Well, like I was saying before, I had drank probably 5 or 6 beers while I was out there, so I had to take a piss a couple times. So I would go to the back, and then I'd just get a look from a couple of the guys in the back, just sort of like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Just to knock it off. And I'm like, I'm just like, well, what do you expect? I mean, I'm not getting paid to do this. Like, it's. I think that everyone shouldn't be afraid to go out there and just speak their mind. If you don't have anything to lose, then what's the problem with it?
Real quickly, I'm gonna bring this up, and then I got one more question. Bobby just says MD4R, what up, Clark? So it's one of our regulars, just giving you a shout out there. So I was gonna ask about Gabe Kidd and really his rise, especially over the last year, but culminating really with that Kenny Omega match. What's it been like for you being by his side all these times, like to see Gabe like really break out in this current form that he's in?
Yeah, I mean, it was only a matter of time. It's like we like last year when the War Dogs were kind of getting going, we said it to each other all the time. Like it was actually around this time last year, especially when we beat the Empire in the dog pound cage match and we took out Ospreay and everything. We just said right before that, we're like, just give it a year. Just give this War Dogs thing a year. And that goes for all of us. But it was only a matter of time before we were given the opportunities. Gabe was given these opportunities to step up and find these show his emotion and show who he is as a performer and let people latch on to that. And then once he's been given the ball, he's just been rolling with it, right? That match with Kenny was a long time in the making in his own head. I know that for a fact. And as like one of his best friends in the world, I've been with him through everything he's gone through. And well, not everything, but in terms of since New Japan, since I met him, I've seen him grow so much, and we always talk about it. I always tell him, like, hey, man, you, like him particularly, that's the franchise, that's the future, that's the star, And everything I'm doing, everything Drill is doing, everything everyone else is doing, we're all coming up with him. But in my opinion, I always told Gabe, like, no, man, you're the one, if you can keep your mind locked on and focused. And the thing is, he is on everything, everything he's doing. So it makes me, almost as an older brother figure, as one of his best friends, it makes me so fucking happy to see that for him. It's just, I'm always so proud.
So you got the big Jersey J Cup coming up, but like you said, there's a lot going on with the War Dogs right now. Gabe Kidd is breaking out. That big match with Yota Tsuji at New Beginning, like you said, Drilla Maloney scoring his first win as a heavyweight. So that means that he's gonna be going more into the heavyweight division, meaning that y'all guys won't have enough time to work in the junior heavyweight tag team division. And you've kind of been lurking around the junior heavyweight championship. You got Akira getting the shot at the 53rd anniversary. Fujita got his shot in Kurgan Hall. When are you gonna step up to the plate? Because I think a lot of people are waiting for you and El Desperado to go at it, especially after that Best of Super Juniors match where y'all wrestled all over the crowd and everything.
Yeah, man. Well, I've said it once. I've said it many times. I hate El Desperado. That's someone that every time we get in the ring together, there's going to be chairs, there's going to be blood, there's going to be something. And, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens after the anniversary show. Because what I know is that after that Super Junior matches, I got disqualified. He didn't beat me, like if I walked out of that ring with his mask and with El Desperado dead on the floor. And then with Akira, every time I wrestle him, it's always a wild time, So whoever walks out of that the anniversary show, it's someone I'm looking at in terms of, you're right, it is my time, right? And I've been biding my time. And Drilla, we can still work in this open weight style where we can kind of move anywhere. I'm going to put on a couple extra pounds. I'm going to keep myself a junior, but it could be anywhere. It could be anyone. tag or singles. But for right now, my biggest thing is I have my eyes on that match because whoever comes out of it is the person that I want to take on next and then win the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title.
I want to go back to basically the last two Wrestle Kingdoms because you've opened the last two Wrestle Kingdoms and then you did a rare ladder match this past one. So Wrestle Kingdom being the biggest show of the year, being the biggest crowd of the year, what's your mindset knowing like you're opening the show for last year and then this year doing a ladder match?
I think I mean I've always been the type of wrestler like whereas we were talking about with Gabe being the one, you know, who like that's the type of guy who loves being the main event, right? And do all these things. Ever since I started wrestling, I'm an opening match type guy in my mentality. Don't get me wrong, I love doing main events, I can do that too, but I love nothing more than to set the tone for the entire show, right? And we see that so much more in wrestling now where the opening match is so much more important. And what happens in New Japan generally is we build our cards, right? We have our Young Lion matches on early, so it gets people a feel into what's going on up and up. But on the rare occasions, like when it's Wrestle Kingdom, on these big shows where every match really, really matters, they need to put something electrifying in the first match. And that's why I got to put Clark Connors in there and Drilla, right? And so I don't find it anything in terms of like nerve-wracking or anything because I know I'm going to go out and perform and we're going to do something wild, doing a ladder match in the Tokyo Dome for some reason. I love that, you know. So it's just a cool experience to be able to get out there and start off the show correctly and get the energy up, you know. If anything, I'm an energy guy, and so yeah, it doesn't bother me. And plus, that way I can sit back, watch the whole show, and get drunk as shit by the time it's semi-main and enjoy it way more.
I like the way this guy thinks. I like the way he thinks. But you brought up something interesting. Like you're able to kind of work so well in the opening match. You work well in the main event. They could put you in the middle of the card. You work well there. Kind of talk about your ability to adapt. Because I always go back to kind of like, in my opinion, your first real breakout mainstream was Forbidden Door 2022, when you come in as a last-minute replacement for Tomohiro Ishii in the inaugural International Championship matchup. Kind of talk about how you adapt from the opening match to the main event, coming in last minute as a replacement. Kind of talk about that style or that trait for you.
Yeah, you know what's ironic is like when I started out wrestling, my first gimmick on the indies was I was the hybrid Clark Connors because as I could do a little bit of everything, you know, speed, strength, you know, whatever the fuck it is, being smart in the ring. And it's always been true though, because I don't like to just put myself into one box. I think as a professional wrestler, all the best who have ever done it are similar in that, right? They can do a little bit of comedy. They can make you cry in the main event. They can do some backflips if need be. They can do power moves, right? And so that's a trait that I've always seen myself as being having a big. Well, I was gonna say I'm also a good talker, but I guess not. No, I can. I always see myself in any role they need me in, right? So, like at Forbidden Door, for example, like when Ishii was out, it was just short notice, and in that type of match, right, I'm an unknown versus three of the most established, highest-paid stars in AEW, and to go in there and to get myself over in a certain way, or I need to wrestle in a certain way to beat those guys, right? I think that I can find that is what is needed for any match or any segment, any opportunity. And I take pride in that, honestly. And I think that's a mark of being a phenomenal pro wrestler. It's not about just wins and losses and where you are on the card or anything. It's just about being able to go out there and do what's needed of you and doing it better than anyone else can do it.
So we have a game we like to play on the show. It's called Partner, Promo, Punch in the Face. So I'm going to give you three names. Pick one to partner with, one to promo against, one to punch in the face, okay?
Okay.
All right. So we're going to go Bullet Club history here. We're going to go Kenny Omega, Jay White, and AJ Styles. Partner, promo, punch in the face.
Okay, well, AJ Styles partner for sure. So sick. I think he's probably the best person maybe ever to do it, without a doubt. Promo and punch in the face. I gotta punch Kenny in the face, dude. I mean, I don't know. he had never really represented like his type of Bullet Club was kind of that, in my opinion, the kind of that nerdy ass Bullet Club playing video games and stuff, and that just ain't it for me. It ain't it. And Jay is a hell of a promo, and he brings out anything in you, so that'll help me elevate my game as well. I know Jay for a long time, so it would be fun to go one-on-one with him on that.
There you go. We appreciate it, Clark. Let everybody know where they can find you at and what you got coming up.
Yeah, man. Socials is at Clark Connors on Twitter, and then at Clark.Connors on Instagram. Obviously, we got the J Cup coming up, and that's in a couple of days. I'm sure you can do a little promo for me on that. And then back in Japan, like always, man. I got, like I said, like you were saying before, I got my eyes on this anniversary show, so soon after we should be coming at that.
It is the Jersey J Cup, everybody. It is February 15th and 16th. It is going to air on Triller Plus. Clark is going to be facing Erez in the first round. It's going to be a great matchup. And then, assuming he wins, we're gonna predict he wins. He'll get either Cole Radrick or Alec Price in the second round. If you face Cole Radrick, please punch him in the face. Very hard for me. We have beef. So yeah.
I was gonna say, man, I've been hearing some stuff. So both those guys are gonna get punched in the face if we keep playing the game,
Yeah. We're punch, especially Cole. Just punch him really hard. You'll reel back and be like, "This is for Jeremy," and he'll know exactly what that means. And shatter his nose. That'd be good.
I have one last question for Clark. Can I be your dog for real?
Yo, bro. Of course, but you can for sure be my dog for really.
Thank you, Clark. We appreciate it.
Yeah, good looks, boys.
Thanks, man. There you go. Clark Connors joining us. Check him out in the J Cup this weekend, February 15th, February 16th. Triller Plus. He's going to be facing Erez in the first round. So full disclosure on that one. We promoted Charles. We promoted Masha a little bit. I didn't get a confirmation from Clark, so I wasn't sure about that.
That was perfect. Perfect. Like we were surprisingly very, very, very ready for that. But this is now. I just want to mention for anyone who knows my history and have seen me on Twitter, 2 members of the Bullet Club have now.
That would be saying SP3 trying to get into every wing of the Bullet Club.
Switchblade put me into his version, and now Clark has made me a war dog.
War dog, baby. Look at you. So when Clark showed up, I was like, oh, like we kind of mentioned it in the chat that I'm in, but I didn't get a full confirmation. So I was like, I don't know if again, with the scheduling we've had this week, I was not going to promote without being sure. So good surprise that Clark showed up, and it was a lot of fun. Easy to talk to. Obviously, the stuff with New Japan, and because you follow New Japan so closely, it made the conversation very easy. I didn't want to bring up Evil. I didn't,
if you didn't stop me to give him the plugs, that was my last question.
A little cowardly.
I'm gonna throw my co-host under the bus. He was very happy to see Evil. I was not.
A little cowardly on my part.
I was even gonna bring up. Was it because of the people in the back telling you to calm down while you didn't help Gabe when the
Full coward on my part. I admit it. We were having a good rapport with him. I didn't want to upset him by doing the Evil, showing off my handshake and everything, the taunt. I'm trying to get these people on my side, SP3. They're facing Cole this weekend. I need people to hurt Cole for me.
You are recruiting. You are making your own stable. The anti-Cole Radrick stable.
We interviewed Alec Price on Spotlight, which airs tonight. We interviewed him last night. Alec's not going against Cole. Oh, best friends. They're GCW World Tag Team Champions. Yeah. So he's not going against them. So I know Alec's on Cole's side. I got Charles Mason. We're not alike. We might think alike. We're not alike though. But I got Charles Mason.
I'm from New York with him. We're both New Yorkers. So we have something.
Yeah, you let where you're staying at. He's gonna come find you.
You'll be looking all over New York like, where is this guy?
Yeah. Charles Mason was great. Clark Connors was great. Shout out to JCW and Orange Cross for tossing us guests all weekend for everybody coming on the show. It's been much appreciated to join the show. If you haven't already, you can go back in the archives. We were joined by Cole on Monday. We were joined by Joey Janela yesterday. You know, Alec Price was on the show on Spotlight. We recorded that interview last night. That'll air tonight. And we've had Charles Mason and Clark Connors today. Hopefully going to have Masha Slamovich here in the next couple of minutes. So I don't know if we need to get into anything too deep, especially if we're going to be joined by Masha. I don't want to get into, you know, a super deep conversation with AEW and everything else going on. But any other like small tidbits that stood out from you yesterday?
That stood out from Dynamite. I would be honest with you. Like, I know you guys put, you know, the Jon Moxley stuff in the headline. I thought the biggest thing from Dynamite last night and the thing that carried was Hangman Adam Page and MJF. They spread that across like 4 different segments. You had the interview in the back with Max and Page and them going like back and forth a little bit. Then you get the matchup with MJF and Dustin Rhodes. Surprisingly really good. They just did like a basically anything you can do, I can do better type of matchup. And it really worked with that Austin crowd that were very much into Dustin Rhodes as a sympathetic underdog babyface. And I like the finish with him, with Max going from the salt of the earth to the crossface to get the basically the pass out referee stoppage finish. I don't understand why they protect Dustin Rhodes like he's like a main eventer, but hey, to each his own. At least it was a good matchup. And in the post match with Page and with Page and Max, so much intensity there. And this is a matchup that it just makes sense. Both guys have the same goal. Both guys have had these little teases, these little interactions, but they have only had in 5 years together in AEW 1 match in 2019. That's insane. That's how fresh this matchup is and how hot it has gotten in a couple of weeks with just small stare downs to the point that crowd was going crazy when they finally went at it.
And MJF tried to commit murder. He tried to toss Hangman over the balcony in the crowd brawl. Now, this was a good segment. Like the fact that it started multiple segments, the fact that it started backstage with the interruption, and then it led into the match and MJF beating Dustin and then fighting through the crowd, being pulled apart. MJF calling him a coward. Hangman coming back out. Another pull apart. It's really good stuff. I assume they're going to face at Revolution. And like you said,
they set it up next week with the face-to-face.
Yeah. Like you said, this is a match that feels very fresh. It happened many years ago when both guys were completely different performers on completely different levels. This is a matchup that feels very fresh. And it's 2 people who are really the epitome of what AEW has been and what AEW was built off of. And that's what I think also makes it feel very fresh, is we're getting 2 guys who have been here since the beginning. We're getting 2 former world champions who had their own reigns, whether you enjoyed both of them or disliked portions of them. Like they had their own defining reigns as AEW world champion. So this feels like a money matchup between these 2. And it's good to see after Hangman needed something after the swerve stuff. And, you know, he lost to Jay White and then he felt like a guy in the Death Rider stuff because Jay White was there and Orange Cassidy was there. It didn't feel like they knew what to do with him in that story. It felt like, we're just going to kind of put him there because he's Hangman and people will gravitate towards him no matter what. But it didn't feel like he had a place in all of that. And the fact that he was removed kind of quickly from it as well said to me speaks like, they didn't really quite know where to go with Hangman after the swerve stuff. And MJF didn't need to be doing stuff with Jeff Jarrett. Dustin Rhodes, the feud has been fine. It's not like it's overstayed its welcome. They did the match. It's probably the end of it. And Dustin cut some good promos in that. So I didn't think that was an issue. But now it feels like we're getting a big time match. And MJF needed something after the Adam Cole stuff because they tried to keep rolling with that and no one really cared. So look, this is good. I love that they're doing this feud and it feels like a money match for AEW.
Yeah, and this was like no ifs, ands, or buts. this to me feels like the first main event level feud Max has been involved in since his return last year. Yeah, there was the Will Ospreay feud, but that's them trying to elevate a mid-card title. That's like that they did their job. They accomplished their goal. Don't get me wrong, but they're not you're when you're trying to have like a main event feud for a mid-card title, you're basically working against each other in doing that, because you're trying to elevate something that should be seen in the mid-card to the highest upper mid-card, and you're trying to make it present as a main event, and they were able to accomplish that goal. But this feels like it is completely tied to the main event. Also, I love that both Hangman and Swerve are still being affected by their feud, because Hangman is having this basically this conflict of character where anything he does that's evil, he questions himself. He still has that kind of battle of morality, and I love Max bringing that up, because Max is the number one guy who has no remorse for any of his actions. Plus, these are the two main first homegrown stars for AEW. Hangman had his past in Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling, but he was more or less the 5th to 6th most interesting member of the Bullet Club in either of those places. He did shine at the end of his Ring of Honor run, and he had his big moments throughout the last couple of years in Ring of Honor, but he really kind of broke down that character from Ring of Honor and became the Hangman that we know today, the drunken, anxious millennial cowboy who developed into this deranged, out of his mind, unhinged cowboy that went against Swerve, that is now coming back to kind of a mix of those two things. And I love how he's still being affected by that Swerve rivalry, because he had to go to that extreme to get his revenge, and now he's trying to come back down to earth. And then you have on Swerve's part, Swerve's like, nah, I made it personal with Hangman, so when he made it even more personal and then gets the win against me, I let it go. I let it slide. I'm not gonna do this with this dude now. I'm not going to do it with Ricochet. I'm not going to do it with the guy I was picking on in Lucha Underground and on the indie scene and CZW. I'm not letting this go. And Ricochet's like, I'm ready to move on. I've already won. Aha! It's cold out here, but at least I got some jacket. Like, I love how both of these rivalries feel like the things that are really hot on AEW right now.
Yeah. We got a couple super chats that we'll hit from Tenruza, sent these in earlier. Think we get surprise appearances at Grand Slam. I know Tenruza's mentioned he would like to see the Young Bucks show up. You know, maybe the Bucks took a flight from Japan to Australia and they will show up. I don't know if we're going to get big surprises because it is a taped show. Like they're playing to the Australian live audience with the matches. I don't know if they're going to do more on top of that because it is a taped show. They're going to get a good audience for this show, mind you, because it's following NBA All-Star Saturday. So they got a really strong lead in, despite the fact that it could air anywhere between 10:30 and 11 o'clock. But I don't know if we're going to get big surprises on the show. What do you think, SP3?
I don't see that. I can see a big surprise, maybe a title change or a surprise finish. Harley Cameron's promo last night made me give me a little glimmer of hope that she could win the championship in Australia, but I don't see any surprise returns or debuts at Grand Slam.
All right, we have our third and final guest of the day, of the morning.
The main event, the headliner.
She is ready. She can give me a thumbs up backstage. There we go. All right. She is the TNA Knockouts champion. She'll be competing in the Jersey J Cup, looking to defend her J Cup crown. She has been the JCW champion for over a year now. She faces Amazing Red in the first round. Masha Slamovich. Masha, how you doing?
Doing wonderful. Doing everything I can to prepare for this very busy weekend. How about y'all?
Doing well. Thank you for joining us. We know it's a busy weekend. When you found out you were facing Amazing Red in the first round, and this is how you got to kick off defending your title in this tournament, what were your thoughts?
I mean, I couldn't be more excited. A match with Amazing Red has always been a dream match of mine. I was a huge fan of early TNA. I was a huge fan of Amazing Red. I also trained under him at House of Glory. So I'm extremely excited for the match. And I mean, hey, you've got to beat the best to be the best. So that's exactly the mindset I'm coming in with.
So, what did you kind of learn about yourself from last year's Jersey J Cup and getting the victory in that one that you think is going to be your biggest advantage going into this year's tournament, being the champion?
I mean, winning it once already last year just kind of sets you up for, the expectation for the weekend. It's going to be a lot of matches. It's going to be fast paced. And it's just something that you have to be ready for if you're going to be the JCW champion. And I'm absolutely not ready to give up that spot yet.
So we got a write-in question from a one C Mason. And he said, please ask Masha how she is going to feel when my hands are wrapped around her throat and I'm choking the life out of her.
Tell him not to threaten me with a good time. No, I'm just kidding. But really, I really love to hear that my potential opponents are, excited and they're confident in their chances, which I'm going to prove to be false to them in the ring. But, confidence is key coming in, right?
He did say, now he did put you over because we asked him we play a game and we did a different variation on it called Murder, and Team Up With. And he did pick you to team up with as opposed to murder because he thought you guys might get along when it came to inflicting pain. So despite the fact that he does want to choke you, he also wants to maybe choke people with you as well.
What a feisty interview we're having here.
It's been a morning, Masha. It's been a
multiple. We're choking people singularly together. I'm like, what's going on over here?
A little bit of everything. This is a morning show for you. There aren't too many rules around here.
I wanted to ask you because you have a lot of people that are gunning with you. Like you said, you're our third interview today. Both Charles Mason and Clark Connors have said that he got their sights set on you as the champion going in. How do you kind of adapt your game to having the target of everyone else in the tournament on you now?
I mean, that's just a position that I'm comfortable being in. You know what I mean? I think that for a very long time, I've been, fighting my way around professional wrestling to prove certain points, I suppose, and this is going to be no different.
We saw you appear on NXT television earlier this year, sitting in the crowd, and Cora Jade had her eye on you, and now Cora Jade's been appearing on TNA television, and she's sending you gifts of, I guess you can call it gifts, maybe threats as well. How did that come about? You appearing in the crowd in NXT, and what's that relationship been like for you?
I mean, the relationship has been fantastic, not only just for me, but for everybody, both from the NXT and the TNA side. I think everyone can see that there's been more people going over, for example, Dango was back the other day. Who else? Joe Hendry was there. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be extremely beneficial. We have some of the NXT tag teams competing on the TNA roster currently. And honestly, there's a lot of surprises that await everybody because there's a lot of things that none of us know until the last minute. So it's all going to come surprising, hot and fast.
So, like we said before, you won the Jersey J Cup last year, and that kind of started like this domino effect for you because you had the Jersey J Cup. Then a few weeks later, you're first in Shayna Baszler during WrestleMania weekend, and it all culminates with Bound for Glory at the end of the year, you winning the TNA Knockouts World Championship. And then you start out this year appearing on NXT, getting the big win at Genesis as well. Kind of walk us through what you think of like how everything happened throughout the year and what's your goals for this coming year outside of retaining your JCW championship in the J Cup.
Well, first and foremost, before we get to the J Cup, I have to successfully defend my title tonight, since it is Thursday, on TNA against Savannah Evans. So I'll be retaining that title first. Then we're going to move on to this weekend where I retain my other title. And as for everything further from then, I say every single time when I'm asked this question, I cannot predict or tell you what I have in the cards or what I think is coming, because whatever is coming is so much grander than anything that I can put my mind to, that I simply cannot answer that question. So I'm just going to keep pedaling forward with my championship belts that I'm going to keep collecting and wait for someone to come and stop me.
Now, Cora Jade has mentioned she's open to do a hardcore match against you. People forget she Elena Black, and like she did hardcore and death matches. This feels like something you would be very welcoming to. Is correct or no?
Absolutely. I mean, if she wants to step into my world and she wants to play my games, as she's clearly already doing with the envelopes, she's more than welcome. Absolutely welcome into my environment, because it won't go well for her.
So outside of Cora Jade, man or female, who on the NXT roster would you want to step in the ring with for the first time or have a rematch against?
Definitely Natalia Neidhart and Miko Satomura, and I will keep saying that until those matches happen.
And Mako's wrapping up her career, so hopefully we can get that in before.
I need it. The world needs it. Just inject it into the world's pro wrestling veins.
I mean, I know Natalia has messaged and wanted to get on. Bailey's another one who was like, please put me on TNA. Like, what can we do to do this? So hopefully we see one of them or both of them pop up on TNA in the future here. As you're watching the Knockouts Battle Royal last week and you see Savannah Evans wins, what'd you think of Savannah Evans winning, and also like Jazz being back? Like, I don't know how you felt about that, but for fans, like that was a pretty cool moment.
It's always a joy and a pleasure when Jazz comes, and works with us. So I was very happy to see Jazz back. Very happy to see her in the Rumble, and best of luck to Savannah Evans, because just because you got through the rest of that roster doesn't mean you're going to get through me. That's all I can say. I'll see you in the ring tonight.
So a person who didn't compete in the battle royal and made a whole promo and had to talk about why they didn't join the battle royal is Tessa Blanchard, and her return to TNA wrestling has been getting a lot of attention, especially on the Knockouts division. Being the leader of the Knockouts division, how has it been with Tessa Blanchard being back in the company?
Hey, all I can say is I think she should have been in that Rumble, because if you want the best, you got to come get the best. And until I'm standing face to face in there, we ain't going to find out who's the best. So I welcome all challengers, who be it Tessa, Cora, or anybody else.
Facing Jordan Grace and taking the title from Jordan Grace, and then doing the 2 out of 3 falls match with Jordan Grace, just what was it like working with her, and how would you kind of define your rivalry with her? Because I think it was really the defining Knockouts rivalry of 2024 and one of the defining rivalries of Jordan Grace's entire run.
Yeah, I mean, I love working with Jordan. Me and Jordan obviously have good chemistry in the ring, and we think about wrestling in two very different but very what do you call it, complementary ways, I suppose. So she was always one of my favorite opponents, just to like be in the ring with, do wrestling with, and like actually, like, we just bring a intensity that it's very hard to find for me, because I come in pretty intense, and I really like that she brings the same thing to the table.
So I actually spoke to you. I've interviewed you one other time before this, and this was back in like 2019, 2020, when you were wrestling with Mission Pro Wrestling. And literally, it was Mission Pro Wrestling was like, oh, you can interview anyone. And I saw your name. I'd never seen you before. I just saw your name. And I told you that when we did the interview, I was like, I love your name. Your name is like the greatest thing ever. That's why I wanted to talk to you. But you kind of went into how, being in New York, training in New York, going through the grind of that, prepared you for everything else that you were going to get into. So now 5 years later and everything you've accomplished, like, what is kind of the trait and the kind of the build of being in that New York environment and still living there? How does it help you with everything that you're accomplishing and everything that you're facing in the wrestling world?
I mean, I think New Yorkers all have some natural grit to them, a little bit of spunk. And I think that's definitely something that I have picked up from being in this city. And that's definitely the type of attitude that I come to the ring with and just like carry as a person. So I think just being in New York kind of makes you more rugged. That would be my takeaway of what I've got from living here. I mean, it's just constant chaos when you leave your residence here.
Yeah, trust. I know.
When you faced Rosemary in the Clockwork Orange House of Fun match, do you take credit for breaking Janice in half? Because it was a great match, but that was a very sad moment that the legendary Janice was snapped in half in that match.
Damn, Janice won so long. It just took one Masha Slamovich match to end it all.
Like, how much fun was that match for you? I'm sure it was painful as well, but it is a house of fun.
That table spot when you fell off the ladder, because I shouted. My missus was like, "Is everything all right?" I was like, "I don't know. I hope Masha's all right."
I ain't dead yet. It's gonna take a lot more than a fucking table to kill me, but it really was fun because I mean I thrive in chaos. This is a kind of environment that I enjoy. I walk into the ring, there's just weapons hanging everywhere, there's tables and ladders. I think it's a fantastic time. I'm like, oh shit, well, let's have every match be like that.
All right, Masha, as we wind down, we play a game on this show. I think you've played this with us before, but if not, it is partner, promo, punch in the face. I'm going to give you 3 names, pick one to partner with, one to promo against, one to punch in the face. And we are going to go, we're going to go people who've been on the show today and also your first round opponent in the J Cup. So partner, promo, punch in the face, Amazing Red, Clark Connors, and Charles Mason.
Yep, I think you put them all just in that order. What is it again?
Okay, so partner,
promo, partner,
punch
promo.
in the face.
Okay, partner with Amazing Red, definitely. Promo with Charles Mason, that would be very interesting. And definitely punch. Oh wait, no. Tag team with Clark Connors and punch Charles Mason in the face. There we go.
Okay, promo with Clark Connors.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, all right.
He drops a lot of F-bombs from what he told us. So
Oh my God, I'll just yell at him in Russian. Holy shit.
Love it.
Masha, thank you for joining us. Let everybody know where they can find you at and what you got coming up, including tonight, the TNA Knockouts title defense against Savannah Evans, and this weekend, the Jersey J Cup on Triller Plus.
Well, you guys can all find me on Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, Big Cartel, OnlyFans, all that good stuff at Masha Slamovich. And everybody keep an eye out for the Jersey J Cup. Keep an eye out for TNA. It's all coming up this weekend. As for the Jersey J Cup.
Oh. I don't know if she got a phone call. That's usually what happens is they get a phone call.
There we go.
There we go.
My camera got a little wonky there. But we actually, I'm not sure if it has been announced, but we have May 11th, July 6th, and September 21st coming up for JCW shows, all in Asbury Park, which is the new JCW home coming up for all of our events. And we have a lot of killer talent. We have myself, we have Becca, we have Marcus Mathers. I could go on and on. There's a huge list, but I think JCW is coming back strong this year, and it's going to be a really fun year for JCW. So everybody follow Jersey Championship Wrestling on all social media and keep up with our shows coming up.
And it starts this weekend. It is the Jersey J Cup, the annual event. You're looking at the reigning champion, Masha Slamovich, defending her title this weekend. She's got Amazing Red in the first round, February 15th, February 16th. Both events air on Triller TV. Masha, thank you for joining us this morning. We appreciate
Masha.
it.
Thank you.
There you go, everybody. The TNA Knockouts champion, Masha Slamovich. Again, check it out this weekend, the Jersey J Cup, or the Jersey Jacob, if you want to call it that. That's what we've been.
The Jersey Jacob.
The Jersey Jacob. Yeah, we wanted to get a Jacob on the show. We were hoping, and this might happen tomorrow, honestly, but we were going to get a Jacob, like a Jersey Jacob on the show to preview the event. But we appreciate Masha joining us. And we appreciate Clark Connors joining us. We appreciate Charles Mason joining us. It's been a busy week of interviews. We appreciate everybody checking out all the interviews this week. I just created a bunch of work for myself, so that's always fun. Always fun. A lot of transcriptions to do. All right. Anything else from Dynamite? SP3. We talked about MJF. Hangman. We talked about Jon Moxley and Cope that's going down at AEW Revolution. Anything else that stood out to you that you liked or did not dislike or you did not like on the show?
Harley Cameron just ceased to amaze me. Like, we need a talent show of just Harley Cameron and her different talents. Like literally, she just like randomly like just starts rapping, and I knew she could rap.
She's done a rap before.
Yeah, from the Acclaim segment a couple of years back. But man, she hit it. She hit that flow with it. That Eminem rap god flow. I was like, all right, Harley. And then she switched it up, and she gave a very emotional, sympathetic babyface promo that I thought was really well done. And like I said before, it kind of convinced me. Like, is there a chance Harley Cameron could win the championship? Not a big chance, but I think there's a chance after that promo. That promo was really damn good. So, yeah, that stood out. Megan Bayne and Kris Statlander kind of starting their feud. And it seems like they're doing like multiple feuds for Megan Bayne. She's got a Collision feud and now a Dynamite feud. So that's very interesting. And we got back-to-back women's matches. That's like seeing a meteor. We rarely see that on Wednesdays.
They linked the women's segments together very good, and then Megan Bayne and Kris Statlander is gonna be good stuff.
Kris is really in a good form right now.
I like the Cameron crazies, Louis. Duke might sue off of that, but it's a good shout. But you don't want to mess with Duke University. They'll drop the hammer on you if you use any type of their imaging and likeness or anything like that. Let's not
do that, guys.
Yeah. I do like it though. I don't think Harley Cameron's gonna win, but like I'm not opposed to it. Was it you who suggested that Harley and Mercedes should be like paired up as like, I really like that. I don't think this partnership should. I know it's a feud right now, but I don't think like this pairing should end. I think there could be some good mileage in them like teaming up, and possibly Mercedes wins, but she sees something like Harley pushes her, and she's like, "All right, you know what? You maybe you're not a loser. You lost, but maybe you're not this giant loser that I thought you were. You just stick with me, and we'll make something of you." Do something like that.
I think the key to this rivalry in the short amount of time that it's been going on, it's like the exception to the Mercedes Moné rule, because I was seeing this week a lot of people on social media were like, "Oh, Mercedes first Willow, and Willow lost the title, and she was never really pushed. She was they never put a focus on her and Statlander's feud. She had a random title feud with Mariah, and now she's not on TV consistently enough. Kris Statlander had 2 great matches with her. It felt like she was elevated after those 2 matches in defeat, but she's rarely been on TV much, and she's had random title matches here and there, the Britt Bakers, the Hikaru Shidas that haven't added up to much. This feels like the first Mercedes Moné feud where the person she's feuding with is actually being elevated.
And we shall see if Harley Cameron gets the title this weekend. She should. Jason saying they should put the title on Harley. Mercedes can take it right back at Revolution. I wouldn't imagine it's going to be a long reign for Harley if they do it. But yeah, I don't mind if Harley loses and they stick together, because they play off of each other so well. And Mercedes works, I think, better when it's someone, because her and Bayley were great, because Bayley wasn't like a heater for Mercedes. But when they would just like crack jokes and just rip on people, like that was when they were at their best. Like the Camille and Mercedes pairing didn't work for a number of reasons, but Camille was just, oh, I'm going to be stoic and try to be a heater, but I wasn't used well as a heater. And I was, are you stupid? Are you dumb? Just kind of useless in the entire time. Like Harley's just there to take away the seriousness of Mercedes, because she's already very good at playing sort of the sarcastic asshole. And so having Harley there as to play along with that, I think works. We'll see.
And I think they could do what they were probably trying to accomplish with the Mercedes and Camille thing with Harley and Mercedes, where Mercedes could be this like, are you dumb or are you stupid type of boss CEO to Harley as like her personal assistant or underling, and the crowd, the momentum that she has and the crowd getting behind her, that's not going to go away. That's just going to grow more if she's now aligned with Mercedes and you want to see her turn against Mercedes. Like, that's just going to grow more and more and more, and you have to capitalize and you have to have something for her. Like, if it's not this, you got to have something else for her that she can really sink her teeth into, because you got a star in Harley Cameron right now.
Tinruza sent super chat earlier, says those extra AEW ROH Global Wars matches in Australia are chef's kiss. Yes, you can watch those maybe on Honor Club at some point in the near future. We shall see when they actually air. They're good matches, though. You know, we got Athena and Alex Windsor,
who's tore it up every time she's had a big time mainstream title match.
Lee Moriarty and Robbie Eagles, MXM Collection against Dustin and Sammy, and then the Learning Tree against Bandito and the Outrunners are the 4 matches announced. So good matches. I assume they will air on Honor Club at some point in the near future. So, and Dustin Rhodes
back-to-back special episodes, one from a cruise and one from Australia. Look at that.
Then they taped some matches this past week at Dynamite. I don't know when they'll air. They'll just have those canned, I guess.
We gotta wait for great ROH Global Wars for a while, I guess. So that's they'll probably wait till like the week of Revolution to air those matches, right? We're knowing them. Programming note: me and Kate will not be live tonight on the main channel.
Wow!
For the ROH post show, we decided to take the week off because it's a Jericho cruise.
Why are y'all against this? I don't know if it's you, but I know she's very upset about this.
I mean, the fact that they didn't mention that until like the last 20 seconds of last week's show, like you could have promoted that the whole show.
These are going to be the best matches in ROH Honor Club history.
No, nothing beating Athena versus Willow, that first one.
All right, fair. But still, like, this is the most star power ROH on Honor Club has had in forever.
Oh, I love when the chat comes up with great ideas. Give me this. Oh, man, that's money. That's a money Dynamite match. Money.
Athena and Billy
versus Mercedes and Harley. MIT versus CEOT.
I think that would be great. You got to prove to me they're doing something with Athena and Billy beyond here's what we did the entire last year. Let's just rewind the tape on this. I would love for them to be in AEW.
Here we go again. Hey, we want Athena to be the longest reigning Ring of Honor world champion of all time. And we want Billy Starks to eventually be the one who dethrones her. But we want to wait till we get a TV deal. Everybody's like coming up with ideas. And Tony says, wait. Let's wait. Let's just wait. Let's just wait. Let's do the title match again, but don't give it to her. Let's wait some more.
ROH is tonight. Apparently SP3 and Kate are running from the grind and they will not be reviewing it.
Man, I'm doing 2 shows today. Will you stop?
Okay, Kate's running from the grind. SP3 doesn't run from the grind. TNA is tonight. Josh Alexander's last match. Masha Slamovich against Savannah Evans. Joe Hendry against Jake something are all on this show. So I guess there will be a TNA post show. Spotlight is tonight as well. We'll be live at 6:30. We got an interview with Alec Price that people can check out. A lot of fun with Alec Price. We talked to him for about an hour last night. So that interview will air tonight. SP3, where can the people find you at?
You can find me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. I will be live in about an hour. About an hour at 1:05 p.m. Eastern Time over on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel with AE Ramble with Jimmy Macaram, the best AEW Dynamite review in the land. We'll be breaking down last night's show, and I will figure out why Jimmy is blaming Tony Khan for ruining Black History Month. So stay tuned.
Again, guys, Spotlight will be live tonight at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Myself and Steven Jensen talking about the entire week in the world of wrestling. And then Joel Pearl, allegedly, will be back tomorrow. Brand new episode of In the Weeds at 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow.
And
and
a preview Tuesday edition of In the Weeds. I just want to put it out there because today history was made. After 7 years, Cobra Kai is over.
yes,
So next Tuesday,
gotta,
In the Weeds, we'll talk about the finale of Cobra
I'll
Kai.
have that watched. I'll have that watched by Tuesday. I got a lot to watch this weekend. A lot. Because Love is Blind starts tomorrow. So that's going to take up some time for me. But I'll get on the Cobra Kai.
And I also wanted to beat Meltzer to the curve because we said on Thursdays we would do some star ratings.
Oh yeah,
I'm not gonna give top 3, bottom 3 since we're closing up shop. I will say this week we added 2 5-star matches to our star ratings for 2025. You want to guess one of them? You could probably, if you guess one, you could probably guess the other.
I assume they were both okay. Gabe and Suji.
Yep.
Yeah, I assume they're both from the New Japan show because
Yep.
I don't think there was any other like big shows this week that would have had like standout matches.
You know, it both came from the show.
I don't know if you would go Goto and Zack Sabre.
Of course, that's
Okay.
the greatest closing stretch
Okay.
that we're probably going to see this year. And it's all based on one move. The fact that it's just him going for the GTR and Zach coming up with 101 reversals to it. It's just great. So, yeah, both of those matches, I gave 5 stars.
Okay, fair. I wasn't sure if it was going to be Goto and Sabre. I know you love the Takeshita and Bolton match. I thought that might be a little bit too short.
4.5.
Okay.
4.5.
That was 7 stars in my book because it went 11 minutes, perfect match length. Oh, yeah, Gabe and Suji, I figured was one. All right, there you go. So 2 5-star matches for SP3 this week.
Yeah.
You guys keep
last
talking
week
about
was a great week too. Last week we had like Swerve, Ricochet, Punk, Zayn, the Fletcher and Briscoe matchup. I gave 4 3/4 stars too, but like the other 2 matches I gave 4.5 stars to. So yeah, very good week in wrestling.
You guys keep talking about Spanish Temptation Island. I would love to watch this show, but I would only see like the clips of it on Twitter. Where can I actually like sit down and watch this show at with subtitles? Because I don't speak Spanish, so I don't know what they're saying. It doesn't seem like you need to know what they're saying. You can kind of get the picture based on reactions and video evidence. But I would really love to watch this. Telecinco, but no subs. Oh, I don't know. I've seen the stuff though. I've seen the clips on Twitter. This is a wild show. I'm glad Temptation Island US is back next month. So I look forward to watching that. All right, everybody. I'll be back tonight, 6:30, the Spotlight, and tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern, in the Weeds. We're back tomorrow. We're back tonight. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. Thank you to our guests today. Thank you to Charles Mason. Thank you to Clark Connors. Thank you to Masha Slamovich. Thank you to JCW for hooking us up right there. You can check it out this weekend if you haven't. If you don't have Triller Plus, what are you waiting for? Get Triller Plus. You can check out JCW, Jersey Jacob, February 15th, February 16th. Both nights are on Triller Plus. Guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.